Welcome to another outdoor edition of Social Distancing Story Time. It's such a beautiful day, and I'm so sick of the rain from last week that I wanted to be outside. What is it, dude? The kids, yep, Stasha wants everybody to know the kids are biking.
Is scooter in?
Well, you're biking right now, but there are scooters out too, just in case. It's super nice weather, and so we're hitting the driveway, getting back into our routine of like 5 or 6 hours a day spent going in circles around the driveway. We've officially measured it now with Apple Watches and Fitbits, and if you do 10 outer laps of the driveway, you'll hit a mile. So that's something. All right, so let's start story time today. We've got, let me turn this a little bit. Great singing, Eve. We've got Rot, the Cutest in the World by Ben Clanton. What do you think about that? The cutest in the world? All right. This is Rot. He sure is cute, isn't he? Probably the cutest creature in the world. Maybe even, the cutest creature in this book. Maybe even the cutest creature in the whole world. What do you think? I'm not so sure about that. Let's see. Hello. This is Rot. He's a mutant potato. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Like most mutant potatoes, Rot loves mud. Eating stuff, nom 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 nom. Checkers, king me, phooey. And all sorts of games and contests. Staring contest, ready, set, go. Are you going to be in the staring contest, Evie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, you knocked over the phone.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Okay. Here, let's move over a little bit so you can see and everyone else can see too. Okay. All right. So, staring contest. Ready, set, go. So when Rot sees a sign that says Cutest in the World contest, he can't wait to enter. Cutest in the World. Enter now. This way. Would you enter a Cutest in the World contest, Evie? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would you do it if you were Stasha? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just thought I was Evie.
You would do it if you were Evie? Cool. Rot is sure he'll win.
I don't know why that is a jellyfish.
Yeah, let's find out. Rot is sure he'll win. He is so sure he sings a winning song. I'm the cutest in the world. The cutest in the world.
That's
The cutest in the world.
No, that's not how it goes. Cutest in the world.
Contestants line up here.
I said cutest in the world.
I did. I said cutest in the world.
No, cutest in the world.
Oh, my ears. My poor ears. What is that awful sound? But then Rot sees the other contestants. There is an itty bitty baby bunny with fluffy, floppy ears. And a little widow, bewitching, bewhiskered, cuddly kitten. And an eeny weeny pink and peppy jolly jellyfish. Oh, they're so cute. Are they so cute? The other contestants don't think much of Rot's chances. My poor, adorable eyes, it's hideous. Ick, I think I'm gonna be sick. Whoa. Rot considers eating everyone. He would for sure win if he were the only contestant. Nom, 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 nom. Eat! Well, but it wouldn't be a very nice thing to do and would probably give him indigestion. Oh, that's not a very good idea.
Why is it not?
It might hurt his belly.
Why is it my whole in belly?
And too much food.
Why is too much food?
Well, it was a lot of cute little animals to eat.
Yeah, but I don't eat animals because I'm not white. Me, right?
Yeah,
I'm not a potato, right?
You are not a potato, that's true. Maybe Rot would be cuter if he had big ears like the bunny. Look, I look like you. No. Or maybe it would help if he had whiskers like the kitten. They're kind of itchy. You look ridiculous. Take those off. Perhaps if you were pink and peppy like the jellyfish. We're pink and we're happy.
That's a potato, right?
That is the potato, but he painted himself pink. Crazy.
Why did he?
I do not know. None of it makes Rot feel any cuter. Poor Rot.
Why didn't he pull Rot?
Well, he didn't feel cuter. So Rot decides, oh, well, that's a good idea. Rot decides to just be himself. He doesn't stand a chance. Is he actually going up there? That takes guts. Last up, Rot. He's going up just looking like the mutant potato that he is. Rot steps on stage and struts his stuff. He smiles his biggest smile. Can you smile your biggest smile, Evie? Show everybody what your smile looks like.
That's just me, right?
Yeah. He shows his best side to the world. What side is his best side?
No. His butt.
His buns.
And that's so crazy an idea too.
So crazy. What do the judges think? Drum roll, please. It's hard to do with one hand. Whisper, whisper, whisper. What do the judges think? Rot is the cutest in the world. I think I'm in love. He's perfect. She's a mutant pear and a mutant strawberry or apple and a mutant banana.
Come on.
Oh, come on. It's all mutant vegetables and fruit. Seriously?
Potato.
Yeah, seriously? No way. Huh. Rot gets a great big trophy. Oh, that's nice. It is so shiny that Rot can see his reflection. And Rot thinks he looks like... What do you think he looks like? The cutest in the world! This contest was totally rigged. Wait, are you wearing a unibrow? Do you like it? Does the jellyfish have a unibrow? Is the jellyfish trying to look like Rot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Rot's starting a fashion trend. The end. And by end, I mean rear end of the mutant potato.
This one now.
Okay, The Little House. Oh, by Virginia Lee Burton. This was one of my favorite books when I was a little kid.
And I used to be the pretend mommy and I would read it to you.
You were the pretend mummy and you would read it to me? So nice. Thank you, Eve. Once upon a time, there was a little house, way out in the country. She was a pretty little house, and she was strong and well built. The man who built her so well said, "This little house shall never be sold for gold or silver, and she will live to see our great-great-grandchildren's great-great-grandchildren living in her." The little house was very happy. She sat on the hill and watched the countryside around her. She watched the sun rise in the morning, and she watched the sun set in the evening. Day followed day, each one a little different from the one before, but the little house stayed just the same. In the nights, she watched the moon grow from a thick new moon to a full moon, then back again to a thin old moon. And when there was no moon, she watched the stars. Way off in the distance, she could see the lights of the city. The little house was curious about the city and wondered what it would be like to live there. Time passed quickly for the little house as she watched the countryside slowly change with the seasons. In the spring, when the days grew longer and the sun warmer, she waited for the first robin to return from the south. She watched the grass turn green. She watched the buds on the trees swell and the apple trees burst into blossom. She watched the children playing in the brook. In the long summer days, she sat in the sun and watched the trees cover themselves with leaves and the white daisies cover the hill. She watched the gardens grow, and she watched the apples turn red and ripen. She watched the children swimming in the pool.
Hey, where's my sister?
I think she's going potty. In the fall, when the days grew shorter and the nights colder, she watched the first frost turn the leaves to bright yellow and orange and red. She watched the harvest gathered and the apples picked. She watched the children going back to school. In the winter, when the nights were long and the days short and the countryside covered with snow, she watched the children coasting and skating. Year followed year. The apple trees grew old and new ones were planted. The children grew up and went away to the city. And now at night, the lights of the city seemed brighter and closer. And speaking of brighter and closer, it is really bright this way because the sun's behind me. I'm going to turn around so we can see a little better. Oh. All right. Here we go. One day, the little house was surprised to see a horseless carriage coming down the winding country road. Pretty soon, there were more of them on the road and fewer carriages pulled by horses. Pretty soon, along came some surveyors and surveyed a line in front of the little house. Pretty soon, along came a steam shovel and dug a road through the hill covered with daisies. Then some trucks came and dumped big stones on the road. Then some trucks with little stones. Then some trucks with tar and sand. And finally a steamroller came and rolled it all smooth, and the road was done. Now the little truck watched the trucks and automobiles going back and forth to the city. Gasoline stations, roadside stands, and small houses followed the new road. Everyone and everything moved much faster now than before. More roads were made, and the countryside was divided into lots. More houses and bigger houses. Apartment houses and tenement houses, schools and stores and garages spread over the land and crowded around the little house. No one wanted to live in her and take care of her anymore. She couldn't be sold for gold or silver, so she just stayed there and watched. Now it was not so quiet and peaceful at night. Now the lights of the city were bright and very close. And the street lights shone all night. This must be living in the city, thought the little house, and didn't know whether she liked it or not. She missed the field of daisies and the apple trees dancing in the moonlight. Pretty soon there were trolley cars going back and forth in front of the little house. They went back and forth all day and part of the night. Everyone seemed to be very busy, and everyone seemed to be in a hurry. That sounds familiar. Pretty soon there was an elevated train going back and forth above the little house. The air was filled with dust and smoke, and the noise was so loud that it shook the little house. Now she couldn't tell when spring came, or summer, or fall, or winter. It all seemed about the same. Pretty soon there was a subway going back and forth underneath the little house. She couldn't see it, but she could feel it and hear it. People were moving faster and faster. No one noticed the little house anymore. They hurried by without a glance. Pretty soon they tore down the apartment houses and tenement houses around the little house and started digging big cellars, one on each side. The steam shovels dug down 3 stories on one side and 4 stories on the other side. Pretty soon they started building up. They built up 25 stories on one side and 35 stories on the other. Now the little house only saw the sun at noon and didn't see the moon or... Holy moly. Leave me alone, phone. Didn't see the moon or stars at night at all because the lights of the city were too bright. She didn't like living in the city. At night, she used to dream of the country and the field of daisies and the apple trees dancing in the moonlight. Don't climb, please, honey. Then one fine morning in spring, along came the great-great-granddaughter of the man who built the little house so well. She saw the shabby little house, but she didn't hurry by. There was something about the little house that made her stop and look again. She said to her husband, "That little house looks just like the little house my grandmother lived in when she was a little girl, only that little house was way out in the country on a hill covered with daisies and apple trees growing around." They found out it was the very same house, so they went to the movers to see if the little house could be moved. The movers looked the little house over and said, "Sure, this house is as good as ever. She's built so well we could move her anywhere." So they jacked up the little house and put her on wheels. Traffic was held up for hours as they slowly moved her out of the city.
That's because it's very heavy.
Houses are very heavy. You have to be careful. You don't want them to break apart. At first, the little house was frightened, but after she got used to it, she rather liked it. They rolled along the big road, and they rolled along the little roads, until they were way out in the country. When the little house saw the green grass and heard the birds singing, she didn't feel sad anymore. They went along and along, but they couldn't seem to find just the right place. They tried the little house here, and they tried her there. Finally, they saw a little hill in the middle of a field, and apple trees growing around. "There," said the great-great-granddaughter, "that's just the place." "Yes, it is," said the little house to herself. A cellar was dug on top of the hill, and slowly they moved the house from the road to the hill.
How do they move her from the road to the hill?
They put her on rollers, and they kind of roll her down on top of the basement, and then they pull the rollers back out from underneath. It's pretty cool. The windows and shutters were fixed, and once again they painted her a lovely shade of pink. As the little house settled down on her new foundation, she smiled happily. Once again she could watch the sun and moon and stars. Once again she could watch spring and summer and fall and winter come and go. Never again would she be curious about the city. Never again would she want to live there. The stars twinkled above her. A new moon was coming up. It was spring, and all was quiet and peaceful in the country. Okay. What next? Sure, we'll read about Olive. This is appropriate because what have you been doing today, Stasha?
Riding bikes.
Just like Olive? You got it.
And he also rides a scooter.
Oh, cool.
And we're gonna ride some scooters.
And where do these books come from? Is this a Kiwi from the Kiwi box?
Yep, those all books come from Kiwi boxes.
And what's a Kiwi box?
It's the art project box that has like little kid art projects and big kid art projects. And we don't get that anymore, only me.
Yeah, these came in Evie's boxes when she was a really little kid, but they're like engineering and art projects. They're pretty cool.
And now Eve
she gets a bigger kid box now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this one is about.
I still get Olive.
Yeah. I don't think so.
What do I get?
Yeah, these come from Evie's boxes.
What do I get?
You get more complicated projects. And your boxes just shipped today. I just got an email about it. Olive learns to stop. Oh, Evie, don't knock over the phone. Nope. Okay. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Olive loves... I kind of can't see with your giant helmet in the way. Olive loves to ride and play with cars, tricycles, trains, and more. But sometimes, Olive finds it hard to stop. Can you help her? Oh no! Beep, beep. Here, Evie, why don't you sit with Stasha and you can help us?
No, I want to sit on your lap.
All right. Scoot, scoot. Olive is going down her street, but the mail carrier is standing in her path. What should Olive do? Can you point to what she should do? Stop. Good idea. Chugga, chugga, choo, choo. Olive's train is heading toward Welly's station. What should Olive do? Stop. That's right. Full stop ahead. Thanks for stopping, Ollie, says Welly. For stopping, Olive, says Welly. Ding, ding. Olive is riding her tricycle when the crossing guard blows his whistle. What should Olive do? Beep. Stop. That's right. Not yet. Thanks for stopping, Olive, says the crossing guard. Squeak, squeak. Olive is pulling her wagon when a family of ducks appear. What should Olive do?
Stop. Look, a green frog.
A green frog like Olive. She stops and waits and lets all the ducks go by. Bye-bye, ducks. Beep, 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 beep. Quack, quack.
Quack, 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 quack. A little baby quack, quack.
Baby. I think that's her stuffed animal. Now that Olive knows how to stop, it's time for her to go, go, go! All right, what's next, Tom? Okay, the story of Miss Moppet by Beatrix Potter. And that means it's time for a British accent. Because why not? Okay, Evie, you gotta back up, dude. You can't run into the camera, okay, bud? Okay.
You want to hold these books?
Yeah, you want to hold the next book?
You can pick and then the alien one.
Okay, let's be careful. Okay, this is a pussy called Miss Moppet. She thinks she has heard a mouse. This is the mouse peeping out from behind the cupboard and making fun of Miss Moppet. He is not afraid of a kitten. This is Miss Moppet jumping just too late. She misses the mouse and hits her own head. Oh dear. Oh dear. She thinks it is a very hard cupboard. The mouse watches Miss Moppet from the top of the cupboard. Miss Moppet ties up her head in a duster and sits before the fire. It's kind of tricky. The mouse thinks she's looking very ill. He comes sliding down the bell pull. Miss Moppet looks worse and worse. The mouse comes a little nearer. Miss Moppet holds her poor head in her paws and looks at him through a hole in the duster. The mouse comes very close. And then all of a sudden, Miss Moppet jumps upon the mouse. And because the mouse has teased Miss Moppet thinks she will tease the mouse, which is not at all nice of Miss Moppet. She ties him up in the duster and tosses it about like a ball. But she forgot about that hole in the duster, and when she untied it, there was no mouse. Oh dear. He has wriggled out and run away, and he is dancing a jig on top of the cupboard. All right, what book is next? Oh, yeah.
And then this book.
Lionni, A Color of His Own. Parrots are green. Goldfish are red. Okay, Evie, just hold that one for a minute. Thank you.
No,
Okay. Elephants are gray.
I don't want to.
Pigs are pink. All animals have a color of their own. Except for chameleons. They change color wherever they go. What colors do you see?
Yellow, green, blue, pink. Oh, no, purple.
It's a purpley pink, yeah. Okay, Evie, careful, careful. On lemons, they are.
Yellow,
And in the heather, they are.
purple,
And on the tiger, they are striped like
black and white.
tigers. One day, a chameleon who was sitting on a tiger's tail said to himself, "If I remain on a leaf, I shall be green forever, and so I too will have a color of my own." With this thought, he cheerfully climbed onto the greenest leaf. But in autumn, the leaf turned yellow, and so did the chameleon. Later, the leaf turned red, and the chameleon too turned red. And then the winter winds blew the leaf from the branch, and with it, the chameleon. The chameleon was black in the long winter night. But when the spring came, he walked out into the green grass, and there he met another chameleon. He told his sad story. "Won't we ever have a color of our own?" he asked. "I'm afraid not," said the other chameleon, who was older and wiser. "But," he added, "why don't we stay together? We will still change color wherever we go, but you and I will always be alike." And so they remained side by side. They were green together, and purple, and
Yellow. And polka dots.
red with white polka dots. And they lived,
And red polka dots.
and they lived
Pink polka
happily
dots.
ever after.
And pink.
Okay, do we have one last book that Evie's sitting on? Okay. This one is called Dog Heaven.
Yeah.
Written and illustrated by Cynthia Rylant. There's some cool pictures in this book. When dogs go to heaven, they don't need wings because God knows that dogs love running best. He gives them fields, fields, and fields, and fields. Careful with your feet, Evie, honey. When the dog first arrives in heaven, he just runs. Dog heaven has clear, wide lakes filled with geese who honk and flap and tease. The dogs love this. They run beside the water and bark, and God watches them from behind a tree and smiles. There are children, of course, angel children. God knows that dogs love children more than anything else in the world, so he fills dog heaven with plenty of them. There are children on bikes and children on sleds. There are children throwing red rubber balls and children pulling kites through the clouds. The dogs are there, and the children love them dearly. And oh, the dog biscuits. Oh, biscuits and biscuits as far as the eye can see. God has a sense of humor, so he makes biscuits in funny shapes for his dogs. There are Kit Kat biscuits and squirrel biscuits, ice cream biscuits, and ham sandwich biscuits.
And ice cream biscuits.
Every angel who passes by has a biscuit for a dog. And of course, all God's dogs sit when the angels say sit. Every dog becomes a good dog in heaven. God turns clouds inside out to make fluffy beds for the dogs. Oh, watch out, Evie. Your buns are not what people are tuning in for. They're looking at the book. Okay. Fluffy beds for the dogs. And when they're tired from running and barking and eating ham sandwich biscuits, the dogs each find a cloud bed for sleeping. They turn around and around in the cloud until it feels just right, and then they curl up and they sleep. God watches over each one of them, and there are no bad dreams. When he is satisfied that all is well, the dog will return to heaven with the angel. It is where the dogs belong. Oh, dear God, who made them? Oh, okay, dogs in dog heaven have almost always belonged to somebody on earth. Of course, the dogs remember this. Heaven is full of memories, so sometimes an angel will walk a dog back to earth for a little visit, and quietly and visibly, the dog will sniff about his old backyard and investigate the cat next door, and will follow the child to school, and will sit on the front porch and wait for the mail. But when he's satisfied that all is well, the dog will return to heaven with the angel. It's where the dogs belong, near God who made them. The dogs in heaven, who had no real home on earth, are also given one in heaven. The homes have yards and porches, and there are couches to lie on and tables to sit under while angels eat their dinner. There are special bowls with the dog's name on them, and each dog is petted and reminded how good he is all day long. Dogs in dog heaven may stay as long as they like, and this can mean forever. They will be there when old friends show up. They will be there at the door. Angel dogs. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, girls, hey, Evie, you want to say hi? Or bye? Or thanks for tuning in?
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for joining us for story time.
I like this one.
And no, we'll save that for tomorrow, okay, Evie? And we'll be back tomorrow with more Evie selections of books to read. Can you say thanks for watching?
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye, everybody.